Right. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Welcome to our seminar number 3. Okay, and as I already mentioned in the group, the WhatsApp group, and together dalam Youth Future, nak tak nak we have to conduct our seminars from seminar 3 to seminar number 7 via online seminars. Okay, so dia akan kekal macam tu lah buat masa ni. Unless something happen with the announcement, katakanlah tiba-tiba bulan depan government kata there's no more BDR contohnya, then ISAPS or even UiTM change their stance on conducting online classes. We're going to stick with the schedule lah sampailah seminar yang ke-8. Okay, only seminar 8 je yang kita akan buat secara fizikal lah, face to face. Cuma seminar yang terakhir tu sebenarnya diallocatekan for our second test nanti. Okay, so for today, we're gonna continue dengan the topic seterusnya, which is topic number 4. We talk about financial forecasting and also planning. So kalau you ingat in our previous topic 3, we do the financial ratios, and the financial ratios is part of our group assignment. Okay, group assignment, and primarily memang untuk group assignment sahajalah. So untuk hari ni pula topic number 4, we have the cash budget and also methods of forecasting. So method of forecasting ni sebenarnya kalau dari segi lagi tepat dokumennya, kita sebenarnya akan prepare pro forma statements. Okay, so this cash budget dengan pro forma statements together with the cash flow statement yang kita buat dalam topik number 2 will be part of your first test. Test 1 pula. Okay, test 1 akan masuk topik 4, both statements and also the cash flow statement from topic number 2. So once we've done this, kita habis semua dua-dua ni hari ni. So technically I will post the question lah dalam Youth Future soon. Okay, as early as maybe tomorrow. Kalau tak sempat esok, hari Selasa lah, I will try to upload the question. And you can try to attempt the test ones starting from the day I upload sampailah the deadline yang I will set. Selalunya about 1 week plus macam tu lah. So please find some time, okay, untuk menjawab test 1 tu according to the deadline that I'll set in the Youth Future lah nanti. So as I mentioned, the outcome of this topic is 2 statements that you know how to prepare. Number 1 is the cash budget, and number 2 the pro forma statements. Okay, menggunakan pro forma statements. So both are actually techniques for forecasting dan juga planning lah, forecasting and planning. Okay, and the name forecasting and planning tu menunjukkan something yang yet to happen, so yang belum berlaku lagi. So we use existing information, existing statements, then we try to simulate and estimate the future punya progress lah in terms of the cash budgeting and also the statement of financial positions. Okay, so ni nanti you baca lah dia punya proses macam saya cakap tadi. So what I'm going to do straight away is to talk about the cash budget itself. So this is the first statement of the 2. Cash budget ni panjang sikit proses dia. Okay, slightly longer. Not much calculations involved. Okay, dia sebenarnya tak banyak. Dia lebih kepada placement of figures. You kena tahu the right amounts and also the right timing of the figures. And then the format somehow macam nak cakap, it's not macam kalau you tengok balance sheet sebelum ni, you know ada assets, ada liability, ada equity kan. So untuk ni dia lebih kepada sections. So you need to remember the sections. Dalam section tu akan ada item-item yang you tak perlu hafal, you just look from the question. So soalan akan bagi assumptions. So assumption tu yang you kena masukkan dalam the relevant sections. So kejap lagi I explain detail lah kalau you tak boleh visualize lagi by now. Okay, so the two components, the main components of cash budget is the section melibatkan the inflows. Okay, and second is about the outflows. Okay, so akan ada dua major components lah in our cash budget. So satu section yang pertama tu, kita akan list down all the inflows. Okay, all the inflows. And then the second section, we're going to list down all the outflows. Okay, and our statement, even though it is usually will be for 1 year period, okay, but we're going to prepare it and divide it into monthly basis. Dia akan dipecahkan mengikut bulan. Okay, walaupun the whole set of document tu mungkin untuk setahun, but instead of we lump all the figures into one number for an annual amount, usually we're going to divide it into monthly. Kita akan pecahkan by bulan lah. So maknanya we're going to prepare one set for Jan, February, March, sampailah December by monthly. But, okay, when we talk about answering exam questions, okay, kalau you nak prepare for the whole year, it might take some time untuk buat, especially kalau you kena buat manually kan. Kalau you guna Excel ke mungkin cepat je kita buat kan. Tapi since our exam usually you have to write kan. So for the questions, in fact masa zaman ada final exam sebelum ni pun, instead of to prepare for the whole year, usually they will ask you to prepare for just for 1 quarter. Okay, for 1 quarter lah. It can be quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, mana-mana quarter lah. So kita hanya prepare untuk 3 bulan saja, which is for 1 quarter lah. Okay, so this cash budget at the end will give us 2 scenarios, 2 possibilities. It's either we have cash surplus or we might suffer cash deficit. So by having these 2 scenarios, benda ni kita boleh predict ataupun kita boleh estimate awal. Then as a manager of the company, the surplus or deficit tu, you can plan ahead what you need to do. So kalau surplus tu, then you know, okay, dia ada surplus, dia ada excess, then we can predict ataupun we can estimate where to invest duit tu. Okay, we can plan lah where to invest. Whereas kalau ada deficit, we can plan for borrowings. If we need to borrow, where we want to borrow. Contohnya, how much we want to borrow. Okay, so semua tu parts of the purpose lah. Okay, dua ni yang cakap tadi. Okay, deficit for borrowing, surplus for investment. Now, let's look at the components of the cash budget. Dia ikutkan ada 4, tapi number 3 and number 4 ni usually I will combine together lah. I will combine. So it will become 3 main components. As I mentioned, the first part is the receipts, duit masuk, the inflows. Second would be disbursement, which is the outflows. And then the third one ni selalunya combine, kita panggil dia sebagai cash reconciliation. Okay, cash reconciliation punya section. We reconcile the net cash flow for that particular period, and then kita identify at the end sama ada di surplus ataupun deficit. Okay, surplus ataupun deficit, right? Cuma cash reconciliation ni kejap lagi dia ada 5 items that you have to remember lah somehow. What are the items? Right, so kita dah tahu 3 komponen, 3 main components. Komponen pertama, komponen kedua, dan yang terakhir tu komponen 3 dan 4 combine as one, as a cash recon. Okay, so the first 2 sections, okay, which is cash receipt dengan cash disbursement ni. Okay, ingat receipt ni inflows, disbursement ni outflows. Right, 2 main components ataupun 2 main indicators that you kena always remember is to determine the amount and the timing. So both step number 1 dengan step number 2, kita kena identify the correct amounts and the right timing untuk record all the transactions. Okay, untuk receipts, kita ada all the activities yang menjurus kepada duit masuk. Okay, coming from sales contohnya. Sales akan masuk as part of income to the company lah, inflows. And then any other cash inflows yang lain akan masuk juga dalam kita punya cash receipt lah, including kalau katakanlah dia ada property, and then they rent out the property, then receive rent. Okay, dia receive rent, kita akan record dia dalam cash inflows. And if they have investment, for example, and investment dia will pay dividend. Okay, so the dividends akan masuk dalam cash receipts as well. Okay, so those are the components yang typically ada when we talk about cash receipts. Okay, so in short, anything yang activity yang akan menerima cash akan masuk dalam cash receipts. Okay, we will put it all in the cash receipts. Next, number 2 is the cash disbursement. Okay, remember the cash disbursement adalah all the outflows. So majority of transactions sebenarnya berlaku dekat sini lah. We have more transactions here as compared to receipts, even though we hope that the value of receipt is more than the disbursement lah. Okay, so among the transaction includes purchases. Okay, obviously bila kita beli barang, beli goods from our suppliers, for example, we have to make payments kan. So those will be part of the cash disbursement. And then all the OPEX, operating expenses transaction kena record kat dalam ni lah. Salary, apa lagi, utilities kalau kena bayar, rental, tu termasuk utilities lah juga selling expenses, you have to pay tax, and a lot more lah that you have to pay operating expenses. Okay, so semua duit keluar, kita record dekat cash disbursement. One by one lah, according to the assumptions given in the question selalunya. And we might invest in new assets. Okay, investment in new asset is capital expenditure. So contoh kat sini lah, machinery. Okay, company tu beli new machines. They might invest in new vehicles, contohnya. Or they invest in new system. Okay, so all of this is part of capital expenditure, capex. Okay, capex that will be part of disbursement. Sebab ada some capital expenditure dia mungkin bayar lump sum, one amount, single payment. Okay, but some dia mungkin bayar secara installment. So regardless the way how they pay it, kita kena record the transactions accordingly lah. Okay, every month tu berapa dia kena bayar. So once we have the total inflows, second, we get the total outflows. Then step 3 and 4, kita combine. As I said, 3 ni kita combine je dengan yang keempat ni sebab the first part is the net cash flow. So the net cash flow is the difference between inflows and outflows. So we find the total, total cash inflows minus the total cash outflows untuk setiap bulan tu, for every month. Okay, and this will be our first. Yang ni memang kat sini net cash flow tu is our first step dalam cash recon. Okay, cash reconciliation ni dia start dengan net cash flow. And then we have the beginning balance. Okay, beginning balance kita akan tambah. We add the beginning balance to be the ending balance for the month. So selalunya as a company, obviously akan ada cash carry forward from the previous month. Okay, katakan sekarang bulan Mei kan. So hari ni baru 3 Mei. Okay, 1st Mei hari Jumaat masa tu kan. So end of the month of April, 30th of April akan ada cash balance. Itu dipanggil ending balance untuk bulan April. So bila masuk bulan Mei, the ending will become the beginning balance. Okay. So bila beginning bulan Mei ni, so throughout the month akan ada duit keluar masuk, in and out lah, inflows and outflows. So bila kita totalkan inflows tolak outflows, we're going to get the net cash flow. So net cash flow ni ada possibility positif ataupun negatif lah. So if the inflows is more, then we're going to have a positive values. Tapi kalau outflow yang lebih pada bulan tu, we're going to have a negative values, negative net cash flow lah. So if a positive net cash flow happens, katakanlah untuk bulan Mei ni, so our ending bulan 4 yang lepas termasuk dengan bulan ni yang positive net cash flow ni, our ending will be higher. So that's why kita tambah, okay, net cash flow ni dengan beginning to get the ending for the end of the month. So hujung bulan ni nanti kita barulah tahu berapa ending cash balance kita yang baharu. So last month dah ada satu balance. Masuk bulan 5, kita akan proses ataupun kita akan do all the transactions the whole month. So by the end of May ada 30 hari kan? 30 hari ya? 31 Mei. Then we're gonna get the ending balance. And this 31st May akan dibawa kepada 1st June. So 1st June nanti akan jadi beginning balance untuk June pula. So that's the cycle lah between net cash flow, beginning dengan ending. Right? And ada satu lagi komponen which is the minimum cash. Minimum cash balance ni kita minus. So minimum cash balance ni is actually like a reserve ataupun cash reserve. Okay, company mungkin perlukan cash reserve and they're going to put aside a certain money as a policy lah untuk cash reserve dia. Okay, so whatever amount balance setiap bulan tu, dia akan tolak whatever amount as minimum requirement. So selalunya dalam soalan dia akan beritahu lah, minimum balance is 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. Okay, so this minimum tak boleh usik. We just remove from our balance and from there kita akan tahulah sama ada ending cash position dia, sama ada di surplus or deficit. Okay, ada dua kemungkinan lah. Kemungkinan pertama dia surplus, kemungkinan kedua dia deficit. So if it's positive end position, dia surplus. Kalau dia negatif, dia akan jadi deficit. Okay, and this is where dia boleh plan sama ada dia nak plan for investment ataupun plan for borrowings. Okay, so this is the whole process lah. Step 1, 2, together 3 and 4 combined. So among the considerations yang penting dekat sini is this one. Okay, kita record cash and cash only. So meaning any non-cash, okay, any non-cash, for example depreciation, excluded, not be part of our cash budget lah. Okay, our cash budget will not be included. Maknanya all these transaction untuk non-cash termasuk depreciation tak akan direcordkan dalam our cash budget. Even though in the question dia bagi you depreciation RM5,000 contohnya per month. So that depreciation will not included dalam kita punya cash budget. Itu hanyalah sekadar a trap kat situ lah untuk you recordkan benda tu lah. So please ignore the depreciation. Right. Untuk setiap section ni dia ada example. Okay, so contohnya macam soalan ni dia bagi satu example, dia bagi kita a set of sales and then dia bagi kita additional information ataupun assumptions. Okay, ada dua page of assumption kat sini lah. Right, and then dia suruh prepare cash budget. Okay, cuma untuk example ni yang I prepare ni, dia dah ada solution, dia dah ada jawapan kat belakang ni. Okay, so for this, I will leave this for you untuk explore. Okay, macam mana kita kira lah mengikut steps yang diberi dalam ni. Okay, so to give you a better view ataupun a different view untuk macam mana kita nak menjawab soalan cash budget ni, so I'm going to use again past year questions. Okay, past year questions. Cuma nak highlight one thing. I have two groups in the afternoon. You all pun tahu kot. I have the group 2N, which starts from 2 to 4 tadi. Then you guys 2M from 4:15 to 6:15 kan. Now, to give you options, Options in the sense that soalan-soalan, akses untuk jawapan untuk pelbagai soalan, I use different questions. Soalan untuk grup tadi dengan apa yang I akan share dengan you sekarang adalah dua soalan dari set yang berbeza. Meaning, for example, untuk buat cash budget ni, katakanlah I'm gonna use June 2018 lah, katakan June 2018. Okay, which is different. Untuk group yang tadi tu, untuk group 2N tadi, I use December 2018. Okay, kalau you ingat masa kita buat ratio last time, sebab di dalam kelas kan, so dalam kelas saya guna soalan yang sama je untuk dua-dua group. Okay, we use ABM Authorities. Okay, untuk soalan pertama, and I use question 2 for December 2018 for their groups. So, untuk you all ni, macam mana nak dapat akses? Pergilah tengok video untuk group 2N tu tadi. Okay, you tak perlulah tengok semua. Just look at the solutions, the steps, macam mana kita prepare untuk soalan question number 2 from the video from 2N. Okay, kalau you tak nak tengok keseluruhan, like I said, you try buat dulu. Then if you want to look at the answer, you boleh tengok dekat dalam video 2N tu lah. So untuk you all, kita akan buat question June 2018. Okay, so sama konsep with you all. So kalau you ada access untuk jawab their groups, diorang pun akan ada access to your group as well, videos tu. Okay, so both groups can have different views lah in terms of the process macam mana nak buat. Okay, untuk June 2018 ni soalan ratio ni kita tak buat. Okay, but now we're going to look at the financial for the cash budget. Okay, so ini adalah the typical questions for the cash budget. Dia akan bagi kita scenarios with multiple sales amount. Ada banyak sales figures kat sini Kalau ikut soalan ni ada 10 bulan from March sampai December 2018. And then from A sampai J ni is all the assumptions. Okay, dia bagi assumptions from A sampai J. We have to use all wherever relevant. And then at the bottom, dia suruh kita prepare a cash budget for the third quarter. So ni instruction dia. And the total marks is 20, sama macam financial ratio. So financial ratio 20 marks. So ni soalan cash budget pun 20% atau 20 marks. Okay, so to illustrate, kita bukan dalam kelas kalau dalam kelas kita ada whiteboard kan, so I have to use my digital whiteboard. Okay, digital whiteboard. So kita akan letak side by side lah. So on the left would be the question, Mega Holding, June 2018. And on my right ni would be the blank canvas that I use untuk menulis jawapan kita lah. Sambil kita explain, we can highlight the answers. So expect your answers to be similar like the ones on the right. Okay. Apa yang I tulis kat belah kanan, macam itulah the expectation for you to answer. Dia tak ada format yang lain. We use the same format. Okay, so when we try to prepare a cash budget macam ni, always start dengan the title. Dekat atas tu kita akan letak the title lah. So kita akan letak dengan nama company dulu. So the company is Mega Holdings. Okay, and then we're gonna write the name of the statement. So the statement that we're gonna prepare is called the cash budget. So we're gonna write cash budget for third quarter of 2018. Okay, and then I'm gonna write the decimals. Ringgit Malaysia, thousands. So this one consistent dengan yang ni lah. I guna yang tu. Okay, so then I will underline this. Okay, so that is the title. We are doing Mega Holdings punya statement for the cash budget for the third quarter, specifically for the question with the decimal of thousands. Okay, so third quarter bermaksud you tak perlu buat untuk setahun lah. We just for the third quarter, and you should know your quarters lah. So third quarter tu bermaksud from July sampai September. Okay, July, August, September. So those 3 months would be our third quarter. Okay, so I'm going to write the months dekat sini. Bulan apa tadi? July, August, and then September. So 3 months as part of our third quarter of 2018. Okay, and remember, we're going to start by section. So our section yang pertama is cash receipts. Okay, we're going to record all the receipts, all the incoming, all the inflows. So semua inflows kita akan record dalam cash receipts. And the very first item that we're going to record in the cash receipts is sales. Sales adalah item yang pertama yang kita akan record. So sales ni dapat dekat mana? Dekat dalam table ni. So ada 10 bulan, tapi yang kita akan record hanyalah from July until September only. So you'll be on this side. So July, it's 3680. Okay, from here. August, 3800. And then for September, 4250. Okay. So that's our sales punya figures for the 3 months. Remember, our focus only on the scope. Scope kita third quarter, so kita record yang diperlukan sahaja, which is July, August, September. Boleh tak kita tulis bulan sebelum or selepas? Yes, boleh. Ada markah ke tak? So the answer is no, tak ada markah lah. There's no additional marks. Okay, no additional marks for the additional information beyond our scope. Okay, tapi dibenarkanlah untuk tulis kalau you rasa dia membantu. Okay, you can do so lah if you need. Okay, but for me, I will stick dengan my scope sahaja. Right? So now, after the sales, okay, kita dah record from the table ni. Now we're going to use the assumption. So assumption yang pertama usually relates dengan sales. Okay, yang A ni dia tulis kat sini, the collection of sales is 35% by cash, whereas the balance is collected in the following month. Okay, so this is actually the pattern of payments from the customer. So how the customer make payments to the company, it depends on company lah. So untuk Mega Holdings ni, cara pembayaran customer dia is 35% cash, and then balance dia akan bayar the following month. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to record dia punya nature of payments tu. So I akan letak sini cash dia 35%. Okay, and then the balance akan di collect the following month ataupun 1 month after sale lah. Okay, so I'm going to write 1 month after. Okay, 1 month after, which is one month after the sales occur lah. Okay, and dia tak tulis percentage kat sini, tapi kita boleh calculate lah. Kalau 35% cash, so the remaining would be 65% lah. So 65% will be collected 1 month after. Okay, 1 month after. So ada 2 payments. So we have 3 months, we have 2 payments. So technically we need to find 6 data kat sini. Okay, ada 6 data points that you need to find. Okay, so we're going to start with the easiest one. Kita akan start dengan bulan yang pertama lah, which is July. Okay, July sales dia 3680. Okay, 3680 is the sales for that month. And based on the assumptions, 35% of that sales akan masuk pada bulan yang sama sebab dibayar cash. Okay, so 3680 times 35%. So we have 1288 kat sini. 1288. Okay, so we're going to receive 35% of this within the same month. Okay, but what happened to the remaining 65%? 3680 darab 65%. So the balance daripada 65% ni, from this 3680, dia akan diterima, will be collected 1 month ataupun the following month, bulan seterusnya. So ada balance 2392 lagi. 2392 ni kita akan record in August. Okay, we're gonna record this in August. Kenapa August? Sebab the payment of balance will be collected the following month, bulan seterusnya. Okay, so that's complete our 2 data points lah untuk Julai. Now move on to August pula. Sama juga, August ada 3,800 atau it's actually 3.8 million lah. Kita baca 3,800. So 3,800 sama juga, the first 35% will be collected in the same month. So 3,800 darab 35%, you get 1,330. Okay, and the balance 2,470 will be collected the following month, bulan seterusnya, which is in September. So you're gonna get 2,470. And then we have September, 4,250. So 4,250 times 35%. So you get 1,487.5. Dia ada point kat sini, 0.50. Okay, so technically there's another payment of 65% that we're going to collect it in October. Tapi again, sebab benda tu berlaku di bulan Oktober, so I tak tulis lah kat sini. Sepatutnya ada satu lagi. Assume Oktober ada satu lagi payment. Okay, but we don't have to calculate lah. We don't have to show it here. Right, sebab dia dalam bulan Oktober. So we left with one more spot kat sini. Okay, July 1 month. So for July 1 month, we are actually referring to the sales that happened a month before that. Sebab payment dari bulan sebelumnya, before July is June. So sales from June akan overflow masuk dalam Julai. Sebab dia ada 65% kan, from June dia akan masuk dalam Julai kan. So kita ambil July 2440, sorry, June 2440, yang ni June 2440 yang ni. This part. Kita akan ambil 65% of it, 1586. Kita record it here, 1586. Okay, boleh ke? Macam ada soalan je. Okay, I recap macam mana I dapat 1586. This is actually from the June's punya purchase. Sorry, June's punya sales. June's punya sales was 2440. Kat sini I tak tulis lah kat dalam kita punya statement ni, but June's is 2440. So technically 35% dia akan terima pada bulan yang sama, bulan June, but there's a balance of 65% which will be paid 1 month later. 1 month after June is July kan. So 2440 darab 65%, it will be 1586 that we record in July. Okay, so that completes our estimations for the receipt ataupun the collection from sales activities. Okay, from the sales activities. So ada 6 data points, kita dah ada ke 6-6-nya lah. So technically we are done with A. So A ni dah siap lah, kita dah fill in the 35% for cash, and then the balance the following month pun kita dah record untuk 3 bulan ni lah, July, August and September. Okay, so now once we've done with the sales and the collection, I will always suggest untuk kita go through the rest of the assumptions. Ada tak indicators of cash receipts yang lain? So, kita kena go through one by one. Okay, so for B, dia beritahu kat sini, dia cerita pasal purchases. Okay, purchases, and then the percentage berapa yang dia perlukan. So this is purchase. So purchase is not receipts. So purchase disbursement. And then dia kata supplier will be paid 40%. And again, bila cerita pasal payment, this is disbursement. Okay, so B dengan C bukan How about D? D, rental of 5,000 is received every month. Okay, dia ada perkataan receive kat sini. Okay, so receive mana tadi? So receive ni indicator of receipt lah. Okay, ni receive, ni pun receive. So D and E is all about receive. So kita kena record the rental and dividend dalam kita punya cash receipts. So we're gonna record rental kat sini. Okay, rental 5,000. Okay, so 6,000 dah ada kat atas ni. So I'm just gonna record 5,000 kat sini Okay, and then rental tu dah settle. Kita ada dividend lah. Dividend 86,000 will be received in September. So September sahaja. Okay, it's not every month but September alone. So I'm going to record dividend kat sini. And the amount is 86,000. So I'm going to put 86 here. Again, kenapa I tak letak 1,000? Sebab dekat title ni dah ada 1,000 So kita tak boleh double counting ataupun kita tak boleh overestimate amount tu lah nanti kalau tak tally. So that's why the key here is consistency. You kena make it consistent. Kalau you tak confident dengan letak thousands kat atas ni, by all means tulislah penuh kosong-kosong kat belakang ni to make it consistent. Okay, so it's up to you. Right? So kalau I guna thousands kat atas ni, so I akan make sure semua items consistent penggunaan dia lah. Right, so that's E. So D dah settle, E pun dah settle for the dividend. Right, so kita tengok the rest. Ada lagi tak? Utilities expenses. So expenses, disbursement, company monthly payment, disbursement, admin expenses, disbursement, pay insurance premium, disbursement, tax pun payable, disbursement. And then dia ada ending balance. So this is our cash reconciliation. J ni pun bila ada pasal interest payment, this is actually for cash reconciliation kalau dia perlu pinjam, if the company makes a loan. Okay, bila dia buat loan, if they have deficit. If they deficit, then we assume dia akan pinjam lah. But at this point, we don't know yet. So therefore, it's not relevant to us just yet lah for J. So itu je lah. A, D and E is all our receipts. Okay, itu sahaja our receipts. Then we gonna totalkan. Okay, kita akan totalkan lah the value. And I will encourage you to underline this section as well. Okay, yang bawah sales ni pun underline juga. Sebab I tak nak this sales to be part of our calculation. So we're gonna find total cash receipts. Okay, kita akan cari total cash receipts untuk all 3 months. 1288 plus 1586 plus 5. So you have 2879 1330 plus 2392 plus 5 3727 and lastly 1487.5 plus 2470 plus 5 plus 8.6 86 sorry 8.6 plus 86. So we have here 4048.50. Okay, takut confuse saya tulis 50 Alright, so we have 3 months of total cash receipts. So amount dia makin lama makin besar lah. Okay, kebetulan the amount is becoming bigger each month. With the highest number is in September. So kalau kita baca dia sebab 4 million ringgit lah, 4.048 million. Okay, so that's our first section cash receipts. Now kita masuk ke section yang kedua, which is the cash disbursement. So cash disbursement adalah semua duit keluar, all the outflows lah, and we're gonna start dengan purchases. Okay, so untuk purchases ni, this would be the tricky part. Okay, kebanyakan student akan tersalah starting from this purchases ni. Okay, in fact kalau ikut sequence ni, for B dengan C ni yang akan menyebabkan student salah. Okay, sebab the rest lepas BC kita ada F, G, H. Yang lain tu sebenarnya very straightforward. Okay, tapi the points whether you get full marks ataupun tidak bergantung kepada purchases. Sebab purchases tak diberi, we're gonna assume. Okay, so the assumption would be based on this. Megah holding purchases raw material 2 months in advance. So ada satu information yang pertama dari segi timing dia berlaku 2 bulan in advance. So maknanya purchase berlaku 2 bulan sebelum sales. Contohnya kalau sekarang bulan 5 kan, so kita beli sekarang bulan 5, so kita akan jual 2 bulan akan datang, bulan Julai. So kita akan beli dulu baru kita jual kan. We have to purchase raw material first, then baru kita jual. Okay, so in this case dia beli 2 bulan awal, 2 months in advance. So if we buy in May, we're gonna sell it in July, and so on lah. So now with that, pattern berlaku 2 bulan awal, we need to know as well, selain daripada timing, the percentage, the amount. So percentage dia 60%. Okay, 60%. So I'm gonna write 60% dekat sini lah. So 60% is the amount required. Okay, 60% of sales, of sales, tetapi berlaku 2 bulan. Okay, 2 bulan sebelum the actual sales happen lah. So meaning if we are doing for July, kita tengah buat July ni, kita buat July first. Bila kita beli in July, purchase in July, okay, we're gonna estimate that we're gonna sell them 2 bulan selepas Julai, which is in September. Okay, kita akan jual in September. Okay, so we need September punya sales, which is 4250. Okay, September sales 4250, and then darab dengan 60%. Okay, that will be our July's punya purchases, which is 2550. So I recap macam mana dapat 2550 ni. We do purchases for July. Okay, July. And when we purchase in July, we're going to sell them 2 months after, which is in September. Okay, in September. So we take sales in September, 4250 tadi tu, times 60%, because the purchase is 60% of sales. Then we get that amount as part of our purchase for July. Okay, July kita jadi 2550 lah. 60% daripada 4250. Okay, so that's the pattern as I mentioned. So lepas tu kita bergerak sebulan ke depannya, which is in August. So August purchases sekarang bulan August. So sales akan berlaku 2 months after August, which is in October. Okay, October. So October punya sales 4 million ataupun 4,000 lah. Tulisan dia 4,000 darab 60%. So we get 2,400 that will happen in August. Okay, August. And in September, okay, purchase September, so dia akan beli, dia akan jual 2 months after September, which is November. November 3.9 3.9, 60%, so you're gonna get 2,340. So those are the purchases. Okay, purchases untuk the respective months. And again, bear in mind, ada kemungkinan you perlu kira purchases luar daripada Julai dengan September ni. Okay, mungkin untuk bulan Jun, mungkin bulan Mei, you might have to do it. Sebab apa? Sebab the concept of overflow. Okay, sebab ada payment of purchase ni yang berlaku, purchase dia berlaku sebelum kita punya scope quarter 3 ni tadi. Tapi the money will go out pada bulan Julai sampai September. Okay, so that's why dia relevant lah. Dalam case kita relevant. So untuk B settle. Kita dah beli raw material 2 months in advance and amount dia 60%. So B ni is settle. But for C, so this is the payment. Dia kata the supplier is paid 40% in the same month. 40% in the same month maknanya cash lah. So akan ada payment dalam bentuk cash. Berapa persen? 40%. Okay, 40% of the transactions yang berlaku bulan tu lah, the purchases, 40% dia akan bayar immediately within the same month. But there's a balance. Okay, the balance will be paid equally in the 2 months after purchase. So dalam case ni dia bukan bayar 2 kali, dia bayar 3 kali. Sebab the balance ada 60% lagi. 60% tu dia akan bayar equal. So 60 tu dia pecah 2. So 30% each. When? The 2 months after purchase. So maknanya dia akan bayar sekali, the following months 30%. Then the second month dia akan bayar sekali lagi, another 30%. Okay, hence dia kata equal 30-30 based on the balance. Okay, so this is the pattern of payment daripada purchase and payment ni adalah payment daripada Mega Holding kepada supplier. Okay, yang atas ni tadi is from the customer to Mega Holding, and this one sebab ni duit masuk receipts ni adalah payment from the Mega Holding to the supplier, the outflow. So cara kira pattern sama macam tadi lah, sama macam yang atas ni, cuma sekarang pecahan dia 3 kali bayar. So again we're going to start with the easiest one, the first month which is July 2550 dia punya purchase 2550, 40% is cash. So 2550 times 40%, so you get 1020. So 1020 dia akan bayar cash. Okay, dia akan bayar cash immediately 2550 and dia ada balance. Okay, ada balance 2550. Dia ada balance 1530 lagi. 1530 ni pula dia akan bayar 2 kali. Okay, 765. So the 765 dia akan bayar sekali 1 month later, which is in August. And then another time 2 months after July, which is in September, another 765. Dekat sini Okay, so 3 payments for 2550 ni. So bila kita add 765 dengan 1020, it will give us 2550 lah in total. Okay, so next we move to August pula. August, the purchase is 2400 and then 40% is cash. So 960 dekat sini. So 960 minus 2004, ada balance of 1440. And 1440 ni, if you divide by 2, dia ada 2 kali payment 720. 720 here, and supposedly there's another 720 in October. Okay, tapi again, October kita tak payah tulis lah. Okay, and one more kat sini yang senang, 2340 2340 darab 40%. So 936 kita akan record dekat sini. Okay, 2340 times 40% is 936. Okay, so now this is where you need to refer to the previous transactions. Okay, and the easiest one, kita tengok 1 bulan sebelum Julai lah, which is June. Okay, so sepatutnya akan ada 1 June punya figure dekat sini, June purchases. And remember konsep dia, bila kita beli bulan Jun, purchases dia, sales tu berlaku 2 bulan selepas tu, which is in August lah. So August punya sales 3,800 darab 60%, so you have 2280. So 2280 sepatutnya ada dekat sini. 2280 ada dekat sini, and then 40% you bayar immediately bulan Jun, and then dia ada balance. So dia ada balance of another 60% lah. Okay. So ada 684. So 684 dia akan bayar sekali dekat sini, and another one 684 dekat sini. Okay, I ulang balik macam mana I dapat 684. in order to get the June's punya purchase, you have to refer to the August punya sales. So August punya sales 3.8 million ataupun 3,800 times 60%. Dapat berapa tadi 3,008 darab 60%, you get 2280. So 2280 is the purchases for the month of June. So 30% of it akan dibayar 1 month after June, which is in July, and then 2 months 30% in August. So darab je dengan 30%, you get 684 and 684 kat sini. Right, and finally one more spot for July. Okay, kita kena tengok July 2 months before July, which is in May. So May refer to July punya purchase. July punya sales. July 3680 darab 60%. You're going to get 2208. Okay, 2208 as the purchases of May. And then darab 30%. So you get 662.4 for the month of July as well. So now kita baru complete lah the 9 items for the 3 months and the 3 payments. Okay, so technically our C is done lah. So C kita dah settle untuk yang ni. Okay, so this part sahaja yang akan complicate things. Okay, if you pass this, identifying the right amount dengan right timing untuk purchases dengan the payments, so the rest would be very easy. Okay, the rest. So contohnya F next utilities expenses 5% of the current monthly sales. So kita ada utilities I'm going to write utilities. And utilities ni 5% of the respective months punya sales. So 3680 darab 5%. You have 184. Okay, darab je 3680 darab utilities 5%. Kan, utilities 5%. So 3680 darab 5%, you get 184. 3.8 darab 5%, you have 190. And then 4250 darab 5%, you have 212.5. So ada point juga untuk the month of September. Okay, and then that's your F. The G, monthly payment maknanya fixed monthly payment, salary 85,000, and then other admin expenses 37,000. So I'm going to write salary dulu. So salary is 85,000. So I'm going to write 85 saja setiap bulan. And then the other admin expenses. Okay, other admin expenses 37,000. So I'm going to write 37 kat sini. Okay, so that's for G. And then H, the company will pay insurance 15,500 every month. So ada insurance premium lagi kat sini, insurance. Okay, insurance 15.5. And then tax. Okay, tax dia kena bayar in August. Okay, sebulan je. In August sahaja. So tax August 11,000. So I'm going to put 11. So there's no transaction for July and September lah. Okay, so that's for each. And then the rest adalah cash reconciliation lah. Ending, minimum tu semua adalah cash reconciliation in our step number 3. So itu je lah. Okay, for our cash disbursement. Okay, so kita akan cari total cash disbursement. Okay, kita totalkan. And again, sama macam sales ni tadi, I will definitely encourage you to underline purchases ni. Sebab purchases ni kita tak nak masuk dalam kita punya calculation. Macam I explain tadi amount dekat atas ni tak relevan sebab kita bukan bayar semua bulan yang sama. Kita bayar tadi 1020, 765, 765. So dia dah reflect dekat bawah tu. So we don't want to double count information tu lah. plus 684 plus 662.4 plus 184 plus 85 plus 37 plus 15.5. So dia ada 2687.9, then 960 plus 765 plus 684 plus 190 plus 85 plus 37 plus 15.5 plus 11. So ada 2747.5. Okay, kalau siapa yang ada tolong kira, double check kalau salah, let me know. 936 plus 720 plus 765 plus 212.5 plus 85 plus 37 plus 15.5. So it becomes 2771. Okay, ni semua point kosong lah kalau nak standardize kan dia. So ni semua point kosong, yang belakang ni ada 0.9, 0.5, 0.5. Okay. What ni So supposedly after you do the cash disbursement, kita akan calculate number 3 cash reconciliation lah. Okay, for cash reconciliation, you're going to start dengan net cash flow. Okay, net cash flow is the difference between each month's punya inflows and outflows. So maknanya 2879 minus 2687.9. So you dapat kat sini 191.1. Okay, for the month of July, August, 3727 minus 2747.5. So you get 979.5. Okay. And then you have for the month of September, 4048.5 minus 2771. So you have 1277.5. So becoming healthier lah, I can say. Okay, and then dia beritahu dekat J ni bila kita dah buat net cash flow, we're gonna add dengan beginning balance. Okay, beginning balance. So beginning balance adalah the ending balance from June carry forward to July. So dia ada 123,000, so I'm gonna write 123 lah kat sini. 123,000 and then dia ada minimum balance of 60,000. Okay, dia tak cukup space sebenarnya kat bawah ni. I'm gonna write ending kat sini. So ending is the difference. The total. So 191.1 plus 123. So ending dia, ni ending balance Ending balance 314.1. Okay, 314.1 ending for July akan carry forward in August. Dia akan jadi kita punya beginning kat sini lah. 14.1 plus dengan 979.5. So dia jadi 1293.6. Okay, kita total kita plus. So 1293 ni akan carry forward to the next month. Tambah dengan 1277.5. So it becomes 2571.1. Okay. So sepatutnya dekat bawah ending balance ni kita kena minus minimum balance, and based on the minimum balance tadi dia akan perlukan 60,000 untuk kita tolak. Okay, 60,000. So at the very bottom ni, muat tak muat ni kat bawah ni, I tulis ni surplus lah. Surplus or slash deficit. Kalau dia negatif, dia deficit lah. So So dalam case ni kita nampak semua positif kan, so semua surplus. So 314.1 tolak 60, so it's 254.1. Okay, and then 1293.6 minus 60 will become 1233.6. And then 2571, you become 2511.1. Okay, kalau boleh nampak semua lah kat dalam ni. Yeah, that's the best I can show lah. Macam mana nak alih benda ni, tak sure. Okay, so at the end, okay, for July, it has 254.1 surplus. For August, it's 1233.6. Okay, and in September, it will be 2511.1. Selepas tolak all the minimum balance requirement of 60,000. Okay, so ketiga-tiga bulan ni ada excess. Okay, ada excess lah. So, once we've done with I ni, okay, bear with me kejap So for J, okay, interest rate 12% will be charged if the company makes a loan. Okay, kalau dia buat loan lah. Okay, if we make a loan. Kat sini make a loan. Tapi kita tak ada pinjaman ataupun buat loan lah sebab the company has access. Ada surplus kan, so we don't borrow. So J ni tak terpakai untuk kita lah. This will not be part of our assumption. Tak masuk lah. So untuk preparation of cash budget for the third quarter, this would be our final answer. Yang ni lah. Okay, this one would be our final answer. So the one that you see here, this is exactly the answers I'm looking for the 20 marks. 20 markah keseluruhan tu will be based on these numbers. Okay, number setiap satu item dengan bulan dan transaction yang betul ni will give you points ataupun marks. So at the end, cash recall ni, dia akan ada net cash flow, beginning, ending, minimum, and surplus or deficit. Okay. So, yeah, that's basically the first part. Okay, patutnya kita stop 5 suku tadi untuk break. Tapi tak apa, kita break kejap before we move on dengan the second part. Okay, the second part of kita punya topic, which is the pro forma. So pro forma tu slightly shorter. Maybe I simplify je macam mana nak buat. Steps ni pun tak sepanjang cash budget ni. So I try to finish again. Kita ada ample time jugalah untuk habiskan. So kita take 5 dulu. Before we proceed kejap lagi. Right, thank you. Right. So we have one more part untuk wrap up our topic number 4. Let me reshare the slide just now. So tadi kita dah go through the cash budget ni. So again, if you want to try out your understanding, you boleh try soalan ni. Tapi jangan tengok jawapan dulu lah. So you just try, just like what I did for the question just now. Apa nama kamu ni tadi? Megah Holdings. Okay, and then sampai sini, prepare the first quarter 2025. You buat. Okay, the information pretty much the same. Lebih kurang sama macam soalan tadi. And then dah habis tu baru you try tengok jawapan lah. Cuma pecahan dia in 3 different pages sebab tak muat buat satu page kan. So you can try this one later lah. Ada soalan ke?
Doktor nak tanya. Okey, kalau tengok yang cash budget Megah Holdings tadi, kan kita ada 1, 2, 3 step cash receipt, cash disbursement tu. Okey, andai kata dalam soalan tu dibagi sama macam, maksud saya macam kalau dibagi yang macam equally month statement tu, dalam cash receipt tu dia akan ikut yang step yang sama yang kedua tu ke?
Cuba fahamkan the question. Kalau dia kata equally payments.
Kalau cash disbursement tu kita boleh faham dia kata equally payment, the next payment tu equally payment dalam 60% kan. Itu cash disbursement. Kalau untuk cash receipt dia akan gunakan benda konsep yang sama juga ke?
Possible kalau dia guna terms equal. Kalau you're talking about equal lah, let's try have a look dekat some of the question kalau ada. Tak ada.
Tapi doktor boleh
kalau ada, katakanlah kalau ada. So equally tu simply selalunya macam soalan ni lah, dia pun ada payment equally ni. So equally tu selalunya kalau dia 2 bulan lah, tak mungkin 3 bulan equal lah, sebab equal means it's the same amount 2 times. So kalau 2 times it's 50-50 lah. 50%.
Okay, baik. Terima kasih doktor.
Alright. So, let's move on to our next section, which is the method of forecasting ataupun better known as the pro forma. Kita nak prepare pro forma financial statement lah, pro forma statement. Okay, cuma pro forma ni dia ada 2. Kita ada for the statement of financial position ataupun income statement. Right? The ones that we've already discussed before lah. Cuma out of these 2, the ones yang kita akan focus more is actually to prepare the statement of financial position, ataupun last time kita panggil dia sebagai balance sheet lah. Okay, kita akan prepare the pro forma of balance sheet. Okay, so what is pro forma? Pro forma ni is estimation. Okay, estimation of our new statements based on the original statement. Selain daripada original statement tu, kita akan do some assumptions. Okay, assumption tu akan diberilah dalam soalan, what kind of assumption. So from the assumptions given, kita try to estimate what will be our new statement of financial position ataupun balance sheet for the subsequent year. So selalunya kita akan prepare setahun kemudian punya statement lah. Right? So that's why ada 2 ni tadi pro forma income statement dengan pro forma of the balance sheet, ataupun tadi saya cakap statement of financial position. So the method that we use is called the percent of sales method. So apa maksud percent of sales method ni? We're gonna assume that the company ni akan estimate their sales to increase next year, okay, at a certain percentage, ataupun selalunya kita panggil dia percent of sales growth. Dia nak grow berapa persen next year. And from that percentage, kita akan gunakan the same percentage ataupun as our reference ataupun kita punya benchmark, kita akan gunakan percentage yang sama untuk estimate all the future transactions. So kita akan tambah ataupun increasekan with the same percentage. Okay, and cuma bear in mind bila kita estimate the changes tu with the new ataupun the same percentage tu, there will be some items akan berubah, they will change and vary directly with the sales. Okay, certain that's why dia tulis kat sini certain, bukan semua, not all. Vary directly with the sales, but there are some yang akan remain constant. So akan ada yang remain constant. So ada yang berubah mengikut sales, ada yang akan kekal. Right? So macam mana nak menentukan mana yang satu yang kekal, mana satu yang berubah, kejap lagi I explain lah. Right? So technically when they increase in sales, ingat kita ada assets, liability and equity kat sini kan. So bila kita buat performa of the balance sheet ataupun performa of statement of financial position ni, we're going to assume that this asset will increase. Asset ni akan increase. Maknanya bila sales kita akan target increase next year, our assets needs to be increased juga. So bila kita increase in assets, technically we're going to invest. We have to invest. Okay, we have to invest in their assets lah. So when we invest in assets, next we need to know where the money comes from. Bila kita nak invest in asset ni, duit ni datang daripada mana? So there are two sources. We have spontaneous and we have the non-spontaneous. So spontaneous ni dalam bahasa mudah dia, this is all internal. Okay, all internal. Whereas for the non-spontaneous, this is all coming from external, daripada luar lah. Okay, daripada luar. So all the spontaneous akan vary directly. So apa maksud dia? Will change kat sini. Okay, will change. All these items, sebab yang apa, the spontaneous ni berada dekat belah sini dia akan berada dekat liability dengan equity. So dekat belah liability and equity ni, yang spontaneous akan berubah, they will change, and they will change some according to the sales. Okay, akan berubah dengan sales. So dia bagi contoh lah kat sini, accounts payable, accrued expenses, and kebetulan kedua-dua ni ada dalam current liabilities. Okay, current liabilities akan berubah, excluding, kecuali notes payable. So notes payable tak berubah. Notes payable ni is part of non-spontaneous. Okay, kenapa notes payable tak masuk dalam kategori yang sama dengan current liabilities yang lain? So sebelum-sebelum ni pun kalau you perasan, banyak je kita punya statement yang notes payable ni kita treat differently. Kalau masa kita buat cash flow pun, instead of dia dalam operation, dia masuk dalam financing. Why? Because notes payable ni adalah short-term loans. So short-term loans means we have to borrow from external party. Kita kena pinjam dengan bank contohnya. So that's why notes payable is not spontaneous, but it is non-spontaneous. So dia masuk dalam external source lah. So that's why they do not vary, and most of the time kita akan remainkan benda ni constant. Okay, so long-term debt. So this is long-term debt. Long-term liability lah. Tukar sikit terms ni. So this is long-term liability. Okay, and this is equity lah. Equity ada dua. Selalunya ada preferred stocks dengan common stocks. And then kita ada notes payable yang datang daripada current liabilities ni tadi. Okay, so these four items considered as non-spontaneous. So semua ni datang daripada external, and items yang empat ni akan kekal, akan remain constant lah. It will remain unchanged. So apa implikasi dia? There gonna be a shortfall. Shortfall ni bermaksud bila kita ubah kita punya assets, we need to invest, and when we invest, we gonna identify some sources from internal. Ni daripada spontaneous ni dulu. Okay, kita akan top up lah from internal. Right, and satu lagi source daripada yang spontaneous ni sebenarnya retained earning. So retained earning ni pun akan masuk as part of spontaneous, sebab retained earning ni adalah reserve daripada profits. Okay, and bila kita dah totalkan keseluruhan spontaneous ni, selalunya akan ada shortfall, akan ada kekurangan. There will be not enough money, not enough money to support the investment that we need lah. And that's why bila tak cukup, we need to rely on external sources. So these external sources, also known as the AFN. Okay, what is AFN? AFN stands for additional funds needed. Okay, additional funds needed. So this is the amount that we're going to find at the end of our pro forma. So selepas kita buat pro forma balance sheet, kita akan dapat the AFN, additional funds needed. So AFN ni lah sebenarnya source yang kita kena cari from the external. Kita kena pilih lah, kita kena decide, okay, this AFN tak cukup 100,000 contohnya. So 100,000 ni kita nak pinjam from bank short term guna notes payable ke nak gunakan long term liabilities ataupun menggunakan equity. So those are the decisions that you need to prepare lah, need to do in order for you to identify the AFN. Okay, so untuk income statement ni tadi kita tak prepare the whole statement. Okay, because at the end what we need to know is actually to find the retained earnings sahaja. To find retained earnings. So this retained earning akan masuk dalam kita punya pro forma balance sheet, and from there we're going to assume berapa the AFN. Right, similar lah cash budget tadi. Dia ada satu soalan example kat dalam ni that completes with the solution, so you boleh go through later. Cuma I nak highlight few things when we prepare the pro forma. For the pro forma balance sheet, format dia very simple. Kita akan ambil original. So soalan selalunya akan bagi satu yang complete macam ni. So this is the current one, December 2025. So dia akan suruh kita estimate what will be the pro forma balance sheet for 2026 contohnya. So when we want to do the estimation, the very first thing that we need to know is ni tadi, percent of sales growth. Kita kena tahu berapa persen dia punya sales growth. Ni step 1 yang kita kena tahu. Okay, so there are two possibilities. Possibility yang pertama, soalan akan bagi direct macam ni lah. They will increase by 25%. Yes, sales next year, they increase by 25%. So this sales growth adalah 25% lah untuk soalan ni, balance sheet of legacy ni. So step pertama, identify the percent of sales growth, and untuk soalan ni dia bagi direct 25%. So bila dah ada 25% ni, we gonna estimate estimate semua menggunakan 25% reference. So that's why kat sini dia ada step dia lah, balance sheet items needs to be multiplied with 25%, and then dia ada bagilah exception, and exception ni tadi adalah all the external funds yang I explain tadi. So that's why ada item-item yang merah ni semua yang berubah, yang hitam ni kekal. Notes payable, long-term debt, equities. Okay, now untuk illustrate further, as I said, kita tak guna soalan ni lah sebab sini soalan ni dah ada jawapan saya cakap. So let's try other questions. So tadi kita buat Jun 2018 kan? Ni tadi. So now kita try Jun 2015 lah. Okay, Jun 2015. Okay, Jun 2015. Soalan pro forma tu ada dekat question 4. Question 4. Question 4B, Alia Sdn Bhd. Ni Alia Sdn Bhd, dia bagi satu balance sheet 2013, and then dia bagi kita satu set lah, the asset dengan liabilities, and then there's one assumption paragraph kat bawah ni. Dia beritahu Alia Sdn Bhd is trying to do profit planning, company net income and dividend dia bagi 500 and 200,000 respectively, and then dia bagi sales increase to 15 million from 10 million, and then dia beritahu pasal dia punya business operation at full capacity, and lastly is the statement, apa yang disuruh kita buat lah, prepare pro forma balance sheet, and then dia suruh required financing absorbed by notes payable. Okay, itu je information yang dia bagi kat kita. Now, apa yang kita perlu prepare. So kita sebenarnya prepare exactly like this. Dokumen kita adalah sebiji macam alias yang Berhad, balance sheet 31st December 2013. Cuma beza dia kita kena prepare pro forma balance sheet for the year 2014, 2014. Okay, bila kita nak prepare the statement untuk tahun depannya, so obviously the amount akan berubah lah. Amount dia berubah mengikut estimation of the percent of sales growth. Okay, so sama macam tadi. Okay, sama juga konsep macam group tadi. So group tadi I use different question. So kalau you nak tengok soalan lain, kalau tak salah December 2015, you tengoklah group tu. Okay, you look at that group punya video for the other set of question lah. So untuk soalan Alia ni, first things kita kena buat cari percent of sales growth. This will be our first step. Kena cari percent of sales growth dia berapa. Macam soalan dalam notes tadi, example tadi yang legacy Berhad tu, dia dah beritahu dia nak increase by 25%. So straight away from the question kita tahu dia nak naik 25%. Okay, tapi untuk soalan Alia ni dia tak bagi kita directly, but instead they give us 2 years of sales. Dia kata expected sales 15 million, original current sales 10 million. So ada 2 sales, and that will be our starting point lah. So kita akan gunakan new sales, tolak dengan the old sales, and then bahagi dengan the old sales. Okay, so this is the way how we find the percent of sales growth. Okay, so new sales dia 15 million minus the original 10 million, and we divide with 10 million. Okay, darab 100 lah to get in percentage. So 15 minus 10 is 5. So 5 divided by 10 is half kan. So it's 50% lah basically. Okay, so that is our sales growth. So kita dah tahu Pok Alia ni dia nak naikkan sales dia increase by 50%. Okay, so dia perlukan 50% increment. So bila dia target sales dia naik 50%, so in order to support the increment by 50%, kita akan assess dia punya current balance sheet, and then kita akan try to increase the capacity in accordance with the 50%. Okay, like I said, bukan semua akan ada items yang berubah, and akan ada items yang remain constant. So kita akan prepare the statement now. So statement dia akan bermula dengan nama lah, nama company tu, Alia Sendirian Berhad. Okay, and then kita akan prepare the pro forma. Pro forma balance sheet of, kita buat 2014 of 2014. And then I'm going to put the decimals as usual lah. I gunakan decimal. Then I'm going to underline the title. So that's the title, Alia Sendirian Berhad. Cuma kita akan prepare now the pro forma for 2014. Okay, so I'm gonna copy exactly like kita punya original statement. Cuma dia sengit sikit, tak apalah. So the items will be the same. Apa yang ada dekat dalam original kita akan copy balik je, cuma dengan amount and figures yang berbeza. Right? So I will explain the changes, okay, by categories. Ingat kita ada asset, ada short, ada current asset, non-current assets ataupun fixed asset. And then we have current liabilities, long-term liabilities, and then equity. So kita akan pecahkan according to the categories. So kita start dengan current asset dulu. So current asset ada 1, 2, 3, ada 4 current asset kat sini. Okay, from cash sampai inventories. Okay, there are 4. So untuk current asset ni very simple, very straightforward. What we're gonna do, we're gonna increase, okay, we're gonna increase all 4 from cash until inventories ni. Semua ni akan naik by 50%. Okay, kita akan naik by 50%. Okay, sebab step number 1 tadi kita dah identify 50% kan. So kita akan increase all by 50%. So that's why step number 1 ni penting. Sebab you kalau salah dapat percentage, your estimation semua akan salah sekejap lagi. Alright, so we have cash yang original 100. So 100 naik 50%, it become 150. And then we have marketable securities. Original 130. So 130 naik 50%. It becomes 195. Okay, naikkan by 50% setiap satu ni. So maknanya 130 naik 50%. And then account receivable. Account receivable 150. Naik 15%. 50%, sorry, is 225. And then inventories. So inventories, original 320. Naik 50%, so it becomes 480. So current asset kita semua dah increase so far. Okay, semua dah increase. Okay. Sorry. Now kita ada kategori yang seterusnya, the non-current assets ataupun the fixed asset. So I letak kat sini the NFA, the net fixed asset. So this is the fixed asset. So rule untuk fixed asset slightly different. Dia bukan simply kita naikkan lah. Okay, so there's a possibility we're going to increase the fixed asset, but it depends. Okay, depends on what? Depends on the capacity. So dalam statement ataupun dalam soalan ni akan ada satu section dicerita pasal capacity. Yang ni. Okay, capacity. So dalam ni ditulis Alias yang Berhad operating at full capacity. So dia dah kata dia operate at full. Okay, just to give you a different flavor. Kita try buka satu soalan lain. Ni soalan ni Jun tadi, ni August, sorry, 2018 tadi kan. So kita buka 2015 December. Okay, ni soalan yang I buat ABC Manufacturing untuk group N tadi. So you boleh tengok jawapan group N ni dalam video group N lah. Okay, so untuk group N ni tadi, ABC Manufacturing, dia punya capacity kat sini, dia punya ceritanya, the scenario, dia beritahu the company has not, okay, I bulatkan kat sini, has not reached maximum capacity. Okay, so these are the two scenarios ataupun two possibilities with regards to capacity. So akan ada satu scenario dia kata has not reached full capacity, satu lagi dah reach full ataupun maximum capacity. So kalau not macam ABC Manufacturing ni, kalau dia tak has not reached maximum capacity, dia punya net plant dengan equipment ni akan kekal. Dia akan kekal pada original value. So it will not change lah basically. Okay, kalau dia not, it will remain constant. But back to our Alia ni tadi. Alia ni pula, dia kata dia dah operate at full capacity. Dia dah full lah. So apa beza full dengan not full ni? So not full ni simply means the current production daripada dia punya machine semua ni is not fully occupied ataupun maximum lagi. So maknanya kalau kita suruh dia tambah, there's a possibility untuk dia increase dia punya capacity. Tapi bila dah full capacity macam Alia ni pula, when it's already full, so the 850,000 worth of fixed asset ni dah tak boleh produce more. So bila kita nak increase by 50%, it is not sufficient. Dia tak ada capacity tu. And because of that, our net fixed asset ni, yang original 850 ni, kita kena tambah. We're gonna increase juga. And we're gonna increase by how much? Kita akan increasekan by the same percentage. Kita akan naikkan 50% juga. And because of that, kita punya new net fixed asset untuk Alia ni akan bertambah to 1275. Okay, 1275. So how I get 1275 is 850 increased by 50%. So increase by 50%, then we get 1275 lah. So this is our new figures for net fixed asset. So bila you combine all of this information, you akan dapat new total asset lah. So total asset you akan bertambah. So 150 plus 195 plus 225 plus 480 plus 1275. So we're going to get a new sales figure, new total asset, which is 2325. So, total asset kita yang baru adalah 2325. So kalau kita compare dengan yang lama, there's an increment of berapa ni? 2325 tolak 1550. So ada perubahan 775,000. Okay, there's an increment of 775,000. So maknanya kat sini, in order for the company to grow 50% of sales, the company needs to invest 775,000 ringgit worth of assets. So dia kena invest ni 775,000. Okay, cuma kita nak dapatkan funding tu daripada mana? 775,000. This is where tadi ada spontaneous, ada yang non-spontaneous. So untuk on the right hand side, ni semua adalah sumber-sumber dia. This is where the funding comes from. Okay, cuma kita akan pecahkan by kategori yang sama. So kita start dengan current liabilities dulu. So for the current liabilities, dia ada account payable. So account payable ada 220 originally. So untuk current liabilities, again, rule dia kita akan increasekan current liabilities. So current liabilities ada 3 kat sini. So we have 3 with the exception of notes payable. Notes payable tak masuk ataupun tak increase. Okay, so yang lain kita akan increasekan. So 220 naik 50%, so it becomes 330. And then we have taxes accruals. The 100, it becomes 150, naik 50% juga. Tapi for the notes payable, okay, the 300 akan remain 300. Okay, so I put a star kat sini. Untuk notes payable, so the star ni akan remain constant. Okay, ingat the one I put star ni adalah all the non-spontaneous ataupun the external sources tadi. So this amount akan remain constant. So the rest kat bawah tu sebenarnya kebanyakannya akan remain constant. I akan rearrange sebab sepatutnya selepas current liabilities, sepatutnya long term liabilities dulu. So long term liabilities ada long term debt. Long term debt 310 akan remain constant juga. Okay, it will remain constant. Then we have common share. So common share 470 will remain constant as well. So ada 3 items yang remain constant. And 3 item ni adalah sumber yang kita akan gunakan untuk cari AFN sekejap lagi. Yang akan kita guna untuk AFN. Alright, and lastly is the retained earning. Okay, so the retained earning part ni sahaja yang agak complicated sebab kita kena kira manually. Okay, remember we don't prepare the income statement. Okay, kat sini tadi for the income statement yang ni kita tak prepare. Kita tak prepare full macam ni lah. So because of we don't prepare the income statement in full, we need to use the financial ratios. And so we need to use financial ratios lah to estimate. So what are the ratios that we need? Ada 2 ratio. We need to know the net profit margin and we need to know the dividend payout ratio. These 2. Okay, these 2 ratios kita dah belajar masa kita buat financial ratios from the previous topic. So this is not new lah. Okay, this is not new. This is the one that we already discussed in previous topic. Okay, just to recap balik for net profit margin NPM, formula dia adalah net profit bahagi dengan sales. Untuk DPR ni pula, dividend payout ratio, formula kalau dia tak bagi sebab dalam soalan ni dia dah bagi NPM 12, DPR 60%. Tapi kalaulah soalan tu tak bagi, we might have to calculate ourselves. both NPM dengan DPR. So DPR ni pula formula dia is dividend divide by net profit. Okay, so those are the requirement that we need if we need to find the retained earning menggunakan ratio. Okay, menggunakan ratio lah. Sebab at the end, we are actually trying to find the RE, the retained earning. So dalam case ni kita dapat 72 lah. So how we get this 72 is by preparing the whole statement, or we use the 12% in the 12% and 60%. Okay, dan kita dapatlah 72. Okay, so coming back to our question just now, bila kita buat Alia ni tadi. So we need to estimate the new retained earning. Okay, kita kena kira lah new retained earning. So to get new retained earning, I'm going to write the formula first. So formula dia adalah the original retained earning, RE0. 0 ni adalah original retained earning. Retained earning original dia 150. And then we're going to plus with additional retained earning. Kita kena dapatkan retained earning yang terbaru ataupun yang updated lah ataupun tambahan. So we need to have the new sales yang baru. Letak sales 1 tu maknanya sales yang baru, sales tahun terbaru ataupun the estimated number of sales. Kita darab dengan net profit margin dan kita darab dengan 1 minus DPR. Okay, so that's why kita kena tahu tadi net profit margin dia berapa and DPR dia berapa. Okay, these are the two ratios that we need in order to complete our calculation of retained earning. So kat mana nak dapat NPM dengan DPR? Dalam dia punya estimation lah. Okay, again sama ada dia bagi directly ataupun kalau dia tak bagi kita kena kira. And I wrote the formula just now. Okay, NPM dengan DPR kalau dia tak bagi. So untuk Alia ni dia tak bagi, both NPM dia tak bagi and DPR pun dia tak bagi. So therefore I tulis dulu NPM kat sini. Untuk Alia ni net profit dia, formula dia tadi net profit bahagi sales So net profit dia, net income is 500,000. And then kita bahagi dengan sales dia. Sales dia untuk original original sales was 10 million kan tadi. So it's 10 million. So 500,000 divided by 10 million is about darab 100 is 5%. So net profit margin dia 5%. And for the DPR, the dividend paid 200,000. And the net profit was 500,000 lah, sama je darab 100. So aku divide by 5 berapa ni? So it's 40%. So meaning daripada total net profit, 40% will be paid dividend. Okay, will be paid dividend. So the remaining akan masuk as retained earning. So once you have this information, then barulah you boleh cari the new retained earning. So RE0 dia 150 plus our new sales is 15 million. Our net profit margin is 5%. And our DPR is 100 minus 40%. Okay. Ataupun 1 minus 0.4. Okay, regardless lah macam ni nak kira. So 150 plus 15 million darab 5% darab 0.6. So you have a 450 kat sini. So total ni berapa? Total dia 600. So this is our new retained earning, 600. So the step ni akan menentukan again sama ada you dapat total 8 markah ataupun kalau you give up nak kira RE ni, your markah akan based on yang ni je lah, yang apa yang you dah buat so far. So yang buat so far ni pun mungkin dah 5 markah lah at least. Okay, so far dah 5 markah. Nak menentukan sama ada you gonna get the full marks or not, it's actually to know how to calculate the RE ni lah. So kena ingat formula RE ni. Okay, and then once you solve the equation, you get the new retained earning. So you masukkan new retained earning tu dekat dalam ni 600. And being a balance sheet, so sepatutnya you akan dapat 2325 jugalah dekat sini sepatutnya. Tapi kita kira dulu total berapa ni. 330 plus 150 plus 300 plus 310 plus 470 plus 600. Okay, so you dapat 2160. Okay. So ada shortfall macam saya cakap tadi lah. Original, kita punya new total assets 2325. So bila you tolak dengan 2160 ni, ada shortfall of 165. Tak cukup 165 kat sini untuk dapatkan 2325. Okay, so this 165 is known as AFN, additional funds needed. So you tambah je AFN kat sini. Okay, S165, and that will be the balancing figure untuk dapatkan kita punya total claims. Okay, claim ni is total liabilities and equity lah, 2325. Okay, and that is our additional funds needed lah, 165. So apa masuk 165 ni? Means the company needs to invest 775,000. Okay, ada portion yang dia boleh dapatkan internally. Okay, but the shortfall is 165,000. So ada 165,000 lagi yang tak cukup. So this 165,000 dia kena pinjam daripada external. So dia boleh pinjam dengan notes payable, dia boleh pinjam dengan long term debt, ataupun they can borrow from the common shares ataupun raise funds melalui common shares. Right. Kalau you stop your answer sampai sini, okay, technically you are not wrong. You betul, you dapat AFN 165, so the rest is okay. Again, kalau you stop sampai sini, mungkin you tak dapat total 8 markah. Again, kenapa? Sebab at the end of this question, dia ada beritahu satu benda. Any required financing will be absorbed by notes payable. So ada perkataan absorb kat sini. Dia nak tulis ni. So ada absorb kat situ, absorb. Maknanya akan di bahasa mudah dia, any additional funding perlu menggunakan notes payable. Okay, perlu menggunakan notes payable. So what's gonna happen? Apa yang kita kena buat untuk kita punya balance sheet ni? So we know our AFN is 165. And this amount will be absorbed by notes payable. Yang 300 ni tadi. So we have to transfer 165 ni masuk dekat dalam notes payable ni. Okay. Which kalau you tak buat, you're gonna miss the marks lah. So untuk dapatkan markah penuh, you need to move this 165 ni ke dalam notes payable yang originally tak berubah. Originally was 300 kan. So now 300 plus 165, our new notes payable will become 465. So kenapa kita transfer? Simply because the question asks us to absorb, okay, any funding, any required financing tu masuk dalam notes payable. So kita kena alihkan lah 165 ni tadi, AFN, masuk dalam notes payable. And therefore AFN ni tak wujud lah kat sini. Okay, there will be no AFN. Okay, yang 165 kat bawah ni yang tulis ni is actually absorbed by notes payable. So the 300 plus 165, it becomes 465. So bila you totalkan, still you're gonna get 2325 kan. And this would be your final answer untuk soalan Alia ni. Okay, tak ada AFN kat bawah tu. And that AFN akan absorb masuk dalam notes payable. So itu je perubahan yang you kena buat to comply with the questions requirement. Okay, cuma bear in mind lah, tak semua soalan ada pasal absorb ni. Again, to put you in perspective, untuk soalan let's say Disember tadi untuk soalan ABC ni. Ni untuk group N tadi. Kalau you tengok group N tu tadi, dia tak ada. So dia tak ada, so maknanya dia akan ada AFN figure dekat bawah tu. So kalau you tengok video, jawapan akhir dia selepas retained earning dia ada AFN, additional funds needed. Okay, but untuk Alia ni tadi, yang ni, okay, so for Alia ni yang kita buat ni tadi untuk dapat lapan makan ni, sebab disuruh absorb kan, so we have to transfer lah dalam notes payable. And like I said, this would be our final answer lah untuk kita punya soalan Alia ni. Okay, so bear in mind bila you buka dalam slides ni, dia punya format mungkin berbeza sikit sebab dia letak ketiga-tiga. Dia ada tiga benda lah. Dia put the initial, which is the original amount, and then they put the forecasted. So kalau you tengok yang I buat tadi tu, I'm actually just focus on the forecasted amount. Yang ini je. I tulis yang satu ni je. I don't put all three. Ada initial, forecasted dengan changes ni kan. I ignore je yang lain. I just tulis yang forecasted je. Okay, so the ones on the left is the original, and then saya just put the forecasted amount based on the changes. Mana yang berubah ada perubahan, mana yang kekal, macam notes payable, long term dengan common stock ni kekal, tak berubah. Okay, so basically that's the end of topic number 4. Itu je yang nak share hari ni. And bear in mind, as I mentioned tadi, topic 4 ni akan jadi your first test. So I akan tanya dua section ni together dengan cash flow statement dalam your first test. So soalan first test tu I akan bagi online saja. So starting tomorrow lah maybe. Try lah tengok esok ataupun Selasa ke kali lewat. The question for the test 1. So test 1 tu selalunya I akan bagi around 1 week or so macam tu lah untuk you jawab. Dia bukan immediately lah. I post katakanlah esok. So you ada seminggu nak jawab. So just find some time dalam tempoh seminggu tu untuk jawab lah. Okay, untuk jawab the test 1. Okay, for the test 1. So with that, I wrap up topic number 4. Kalau ada soalan terakhir boleh tanya. Okay, so kalau tak ada, thank you very much. Alright, thank you very much, and insyaAllah I'll see you guys for this seminar number 4. 2 minggu lagi kot Alright, thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih Dr. Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you.
Welcome. Alright.